Check out the links in my description for more information, for more resources. Check out the podcast. Check out the Facebook groups. Just check out the links. There's a lot of great stuff there. Comment, rate, subscribe, share, like, dislike, whatever you want to do. This is my Bulma Shenron Fireball deck. I'll copy the leader. 4 Oceanus, 4 Shenron Figure Majesty, 4 Toppo Righteous Aid, 4 Goku Resolve Renewed, 4 Kaioken Goku, 4 Goku and Eye for an Eye, 4 Videl Miraculous Aid, 4 Pan Skillus, 4 Nappa Super Combo, 4 Testing that position, 4 Goku and Vegeta Jr. Saiyan Scion, 4 Baby Juvenile Parasite, 4 King Piccolo Giant Force, 4 Vegito Unison of Might, and 1 Pan Time Patrol Maiden. This build, obviously has the King Piccolo Giant Force Unison in it. I've used this many times with the deck, obviously. But what I haven't done is use it with Shenron, so combining Shenron Figure Majesty along with the Leader's Awaken ability and King Piccolo, it does open up the ability to have a lot of energy to be able to do the fireball thing, which is always what you want to do, when it comes to like a fireball effect. Fireball is a magic card where you pay red energy or mana plus X and you do X damage. So this card's -4 active main, pay 4 red energy and X. If your leader card is red, deal X damage to your opponent. So this is how we will burn our opponent for game, right? How we will fireball our opponent. Now, under the right conditions, you can burn your opponent for 4. Now, we say the first 4 damage is the easiest, next 2 require low effort, and the last 2 is the hardest. So, since the first 4 damage is relatively easy, especially you can pretty much do 4 damage turn 1 just with Goku Junior Saiyan, Saiyan Scion, and either 5K combo with the leader or Nappa Super combo, right? You could do, between 4 or 5 damage on turn 1. So it's not that hard to do a lot of damage to your opponent turn 1. So because of that, we don't need to do that much damage with this card. But if we need to do more than just 2 damage or 1 damage, then this card can obviously do that. We got the Vegito. Vegito can do 1 damage if your opponent has no battle cards by minusing 5 from this unison. But if our opponent has 2 more life, then we want to, be able to fireball them, right? So one of the things you want to be able to do, obviously, is you want to save your Leader's Awaken ability to untap 2 energy, right? Use your Shenron Figure Majesty's ability to draw a card and untap 2 energy, which is the first effect, right? So that right there, you have the potential of untapping 4 energy. And of course, that 4 energy can be used to pay the 4 red for this card's fireball effect, and then after that, just 2 plus extra energy, right, to be able to do damage. So you could potentially pay 4 energy, right, because you need 4 markers, right? Pay 4 energy to play this card, right? Then use the leader's ability to untap 2 energy. Use Shenron to untap 2 energy. So that way you have your 4 red. Alright, so like I said, you'll have the 4 energy back, and then you will use the 4 energy to pay for the 4 red, and then whatever extra energy you have is how much damage you're going to deal your opponent. So if you have 2 extra energy, then you would deal your opponent 2 damage, right? So this is a way you can do 2 damage with 6 energy, right? So with 6 energy, you could play this card for 4 markers, and then be able to pay the 4 red, and the 2 for the X. So total 6 energy, and deal your opponent the 2 damage. Because normally you would need just to do 2 damage, you would need a total of 10 energy, right? So you need 4 to play the card, then 4 to pay the red plus the 2 for the damage, so that'd be a total of 10 energy. Now, a trick before I put the Shenron in there, right, was that you would need 8 energy, right, 4 to play the card. Then you will untap 2 energy with the leader, so that way you have 6 energy, right? So originally you have 8 energy, use 4 to play, untap 2, so you have 6, right? Then you pay the 4 plus 2, and then you would deal your opponent 2 damage. But that means you had to make it to turn 8 in order to do 2 damage with that strategy. But this way, you can do it 2 turns earlier, right? You can do 2 damage with this unison on turn 6, which is not that hard to get to turn 6 with this leader. So that's why it's better that just by adding Shenron, we're able to do this, do 2 damage as soon as turn 6. And like I said, first 4 damage is easy. The next 2 requires a little effort. The last 2 are the hardest. So it's not that hard to get your opponent down to 2 life. And usually that's all you really need, is just the ability to do 2 damage. So that's mainly what I try to do with this. Just do 2 damage. Everything else is pretty much self-explanatory. The main thing as soon as turn 3, you want to get baby on the field, right? Start drawing, start taking opponent's battle cards off the board, right? Maintain board control. Obviously, you have the ability to defend yourself relatively cheap because you have a lot of things that becomes blockers. We have the Shenron Figure Majesty to help us not only do the energy untapping, but also has the ability to help us bring back Videl Miraculous Aid from the drop onto the field. So we can use her ability to recycle our Goku Resolve Renewed if we need him to negate an attack and become a blocker, or if we need a board wipe like Kaioken Goku. Because of course, if we use Kaioken Goku at the right time, we can play this, right? Board wipe our opponent, right? Use Shenron's Figure's Majesty's ability to untap 2 energy, awaken our leader, right? To untap 2 energy, as an example. Maybe just untap 2 energy is enough, but let's say we untap 4 energy altogether, and then we can use that to go into a Vegito play. Obviously, we need 5 energy in total, so you get the idea. The idea is just to obviously make sure we can get to a 5 energy. So we can play Vegito and then do its -5 ability and deal opponent 1 damage. So there's synergy there, obviously. The Saiyan Silence is to help us, obviously, turn 1, swing, deal damage, bring up 2 pans, swing with them, deal damage, right? Swing with the leader, combo, and try to deal damage. So that you can potentially do 4 damage. If you have a Nappa, then you have a potential of doing 5 damage on turn 1. Because the goal is to get your opponent down to 2 and finish them off. And under the right conditions, you could potentially finish your opponent off by turn 5. Like I said, if you do the whole Shenron turn 4, right? So you want baby turn 3, Shenron turn 4, untap 2 energy, ideally. You want to use that 2 energy for Oceanus or Topo, or your testing oppositions, or your Goku Renewed. And you want your negates, right? You want to survive your opponent's turn, and then from there, on turn 5, you can potentially Vegeta your opponent for game. He is a 20k buy. You can take advantage of playing him, swing with him to try to deal your opponent, try to get your opponent down to 1 life, and then finish them off with the -5 effect. So there's that. So like that. So if you get to turn 5, right, you'll use 3 energy to am I saying it right? 5, pay 3, untap. Oh yeah, because you're gonna use Shenron. So you pay, so turn 5 you pay 3 for Kaioken Goku, board wipe, untap 2 energy with Shenron, so you'll be at 4 energy, right? And you can use the leader's awaken ability, so you can be back at 5 energy, and then use the 5 for Vegito, and then use Vegito to burn your point for 1. So that's what I'm trying to say. So the synergy with those, obviously, with the leader and Shenron and Kaioken Goku and Vegito. Especially if you're in a scenario where you have to play her for 1 energy, use her to get Kaioken, right? Play Kaioken, right? So that's 4 energy you use. Then use Shenron to untap energy. Use the leader's ability to untap energy, so you're back at 5 energy, and then do the Vegito yourself. Like, it depends on how things play out, obviously. So there's that. Of course, Topo Oceanus Floodgates. Defense, keep us in the game longer. Testing that position obviously helps us potentially stop 2 attacks. Pan, works like a floodgate. Defense plus a 4K beat stick plus the ability to take your opponent's battle card. So has multiple uses. Goku and Eye for an Eye. This is our version of counter basically, because by having it in play, whenever your opponent plays a counter play, they take a damage once per turn. So if they try to negate try to negate an attack or play a counter play to counterplay one of your cards, you can deal them 1 damage. And like I said, it's not that hard to get your opponent down to like 2 or 1 life. So this will make it really, really hard for them to play counters if they will literally lose by doing so. So this adds the tax to whatever strategy they have. So this is ours as red players. This is our version of Swift Retaliation Cooler, Golden Avenger, 5-drop 8. So this is our version of that. So if our opponent, tries to play Swift Retaliation Cooler against us, right, to negate our negate, we'll burn them. Which, if they only have 1 life, GG. So that's the purpose for that. Plus, it's a 3 cost, so you can obviously get it back and recycle it with Videl Miraculous Aid. It's a 20k body, so you can take advantage of that. You can play and swing with them and hope your opponent negates the attack and lose anyway, right? Especially if you understand when your opponent drops their pan on you, because it is a counterattack, right? Or they drop maybe Hatchiak on you, they'll take damage. If they play testing out position, they're going to end up losing, or they're going to end up losing 2 life as long as this is in play. And of course, if you have multiple copies of this, the more damage your opponent can take. So if you have 2 of these in play, anytime your opponent plays a counter play or counter attack card, counter play, counter, it's just bang, going to take 2 damage. So that is already busted. So clearly a lot of burn in here, and the leader turns all your red Saiyans and Earthlings and yellow Saiyans and Earthlings into blockers. Obviously, once per turn you draw a card on your active main on your turn, and on Awaken side you draw 2 cards. And that's the end of the video.